Jess, and I welcome every single one of you to my channel. I'm as excited as everyone else is for the recently announced book 3 of Infinity Train. Today with my guest, I will be coming through the trailer, analyzing and presenting our speculations and any possible details you might have missed. Introduce yourself.
Good morning, everybody. I am Okil Ohajowicz. Just as she said, I'm excited for newly announced book 3. Yeah, we feel very happy that we can discuss some mystery surrounding the cult before part 3 officially premieres, and we will be very happy to compare our theories with reality.
Oh yeah, it's always the best thing to check mark what prediction you got right and what you got wrong and what you hoped for and what surprised you. So, book 3 was announced a couple of weeks ago, but only recently, on the 24th of July, we got a whole Comic-Con online panel and a new trailer. The show continues with its anthology format, which I think is perfect for this type of story, so they can tell multiple stories in this universe, but keep it fresh and without unnecessarily stretching them, while I would love to see the older characters return as much as the next guy. I think in the long run, this is a perfect format for that specific show. The recurring character are Grace and Simon, the leaders of the rebellious group first introduced in book 2, who believe that getting the number up is actually the goal, and started gathering more children to join them.
Yeah, the Apex, Masters of Contradictions.
Oh, hell yeah! I'm personally really excited to see Grace and Simon, the leaders of the group, as main characters now, because everyone knew that those guys will return. Like, they were the biggest unfinished storyline from the first season. Also, Owen, maybe not directly stated, but implied that the story will be about them. But I think everyone expected some random kid who joins them and finds out that their ways are wrong, you know? But we now actually are having the leaders of the group as the main characters, so that will be a nice reform from Tobad. I don't think I've ever seen a show take its side villains and turn them into main characters before.
Yes, besides the typical frenemy cliche, I don't think I have seen anything like that either.
Yes, it's like they don't join the main characters, they are now the main characters, which that has a ton of potential. Also, the third new character is Hazel, a young, cheery, optimistic girl who we don't really know that much about. The general premise that got revealed when book 3 got announced is that the leaders of the Apex, you know, this group of weirdos, will get separated from the rest of the group and will be joined by a young, optimistic girl named Hazel and her friendly
orangutan.
Oh yeah, named with a tuba named Tuba.
And that's cute as Phil. Tuba has tuba.
Yep, he's cute. So, that was the premise we knew, and my first thought that it would be that they got separated first, and they would then meet Hazel, and that we will have a big, no, she can't go with us moment. But the trailer showed that they actually just encountered her randomly on one of their scouting missions and then take her to their base. And what I found the most... Okay, maybe we'll come back to that later. And the unique thing about Hazel, what distinguishes from her from other passengers, is her number. Yeah. Even when just we got the poster dropped, which was quite a change of pace, because for book 2 we first got the trailer and then got the poster, and now it was in reverse. People already instantly notice that her hand doesn't glow
Yes,
because
I love the Infinity Train community. They actually made true theory based on some element of the poster that normal consumer would never even notice.
oh yeah, that was absolutely amazing that fans found it out immediately, and that's where the film starts. But now on the trailer, we can see that she may have a number. She actually has one written on her hand, but it's not glowing. So it's either a fake number, a broken number, or something she just drew. There are so many possibilities, and the dominant theory seems to be that like the three main possibilities are that she's either a denizen created to make the apex like turn back from their way. So when they because their basis of what counts as a human was or a passenger was having the number, and now they found a human with her number broken. Second, that she's a child of someone, and that she's a child of two passengers, and that she was born on the train, or that she's just a regular passenger but her number is somehow broken, or she wasn't given one the correct way. The mark she has on her hand seems way too precise for, I don't know how old she is, like 7, for a 7-year-old to draw on her own, but at the same time, someone else could have done that. Or it could be some sort of an imprint.
I think that every of these theory is possible except the one with broken number, because we have already seen a broken number in episode 20 and we all know that it can't end well. But but speaking of the child theory, that is something I actually kind of believe. I thought for a moment that Hazel is going to be child of Grace and Simon, but of course trailer immediately proved me wrong.
Oh yeah, I've seen people speculate that because she kind of looks like mix of both of them. Also, what is important is Hazel's design, because people that we previously encountered on the train had their clothes really intact, and when we look at Grace and Simon, of course their clothes are like designed for scouting, but despite the punk aesthetic of their whole group, we can see that their clothes are kind of like old and torn, and Hazel's clothes are like mismatching. She has very messy hair with a lot of holes, some leaves in her hair. Her clothes are like not fitting, too big. She doesn't have shoes on, so her design suggests that she's been kind of like this alone living wild child, basically, or coming from very like impoverished place. Like that. Sorry, I lost the train of thought. Get it, train. But that's what her character design suggests.
I don't care who. Somebody has to make a fan art of Hazel where she pretends she's Tarzan.
But she also is wearing a blue tie, and I love this tie.
Yes. I don't know why, but it gives me some. She seems like half Tarzan, half Hatsune Miku, but in preschool.
I love this. I have to draw it when I'm editing this video. So, okay.
That would look awesome.
For me, this gave me a very kid who had just random clothes and tried to dress up to look cool or form some sort of a costume. Or maybe had no other clothes available. But that tie is stylish.
That is also possible. I mean, we already know from what Owen said that in the train there are no bathrooms. So it wouldn't be
Really
too
said that?
surprising if there wasn't fashion supply car. Maybe except the fashion car we see in Parasite episode.
I don't think he said that there are no bathrooms. I think he just left that up to interpretation, and we see Tulip brushing her teeth at the beginning of the ball pit car.
But hey, that toothbrush may have come from her backpack. Like, let's remember that she was preparing for a game design camp, and when are you going to camp, you have to pack. And I don't know about you, but I was packing a toothbrush for every camp I ever attended.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that. But the train, like, there seem to be places that give you different utilities. Like, we see multiple places where the characters could get some food, but all the characters
Italian car.
are wearing. Huh?
Of course, we should all grab some pizza in Italian car if we ever end up in train.
Oh yeah. But we see that all the characters who are on the train keep wearing the same clothes they brought with themselves, and the characters who are on the train longer seem to have their clothes more less intact, except for, I'm pretty sure Amelia was wearing a different coat when she entered. Like, it's a slightly different shade.
It's not impossible. It could whiten over time.
But it looked like thicker and a bit different. But it's possible that it could, slightly change color. But at the same time, and I don't think she had the gloves before, but like, Amelia was there so long, and considering her position, she's like kind of out of the question for what could a passenger do. So she's kind of out of the question here.
Probably, yes.
Yeah, Amelia does what Amelia does. She got herself the fucking blue cape. She can get herself a coat.
Yes, right. We are talking about a character that basically made herself a Metal Gear, but without nuclear warheads.
Like, she's out of the question. She can do more. Okay, so coming back, I'm really excited that this book will take, I think it will take the route of exploring the morality of the train more from passengers' perspective, because book 2 more focused that the denizen's life can be kind of unfair, and they added a ton of existential horror to it. And now I think it may be focused on the passenger's role. Also, I love that it will resolve the more unresolved aspects of book 2, and that it will continue the storyline of how the mess Amelia caused years ago still carries on, and that while Tulip kind of managed to restore the train to normalcy, it's not like everything was fixed. And that I really hope that they will explore more the beliefs of this group and how we will be able to see them changing.
Yes, that's definitely what I look forward to. Apex is a really interesting group of interest. And that would be really nice to see how they started to think that higher number the better. Maybe it was a misunderstanding, like you predicted with one of your arts.
Oh
Maybe,
yeah, my coffee.
maybe it was a lie Amelia told them.
Yeah,
I
maybe it's something they just figured out. My personal theory is that, okay, maybe we'll get to Amelia later because there is way too much to be said and we should close the main line now. But yeah, I'm hoping they would explore that. And I'm thinking what they will do with Grace and Simon, because that seems like the base of redemption, but that's like the point of the whole show. And I've seen a lot of people speculating that Simon may be like beyond the point of no return when it comes to his beliefs, but this show can pretty much pull everything off if the creators plan for it enough. Also, I would like to explore more of if they're actually just of where did they build their beliefs came from, and also the relationship between the group. And I was especially interested in how they differently perceived Hazel than any other children who joined them, because of the line like, do you really want to throw her into the Apex Kids?
Yes. Well, Hazel is a very interesting character for a lot of different reasons. But yeah, when you think about it, they may have to, but they may have some different plans for her. Of course, we know that they hate Tuba, and of
Yeah, I'm
course,
especially interested, like the trailer. Oh, sorry, finish.
so we know that they hate Tuba, and we know that they want to get rid of him, I think. But they seem to have difficulties with that because, first of all, Hazel really trusts Tuba, and as such, she doesn't believe that every no is bad. And second of all, I have seen fighting ape in JoJo before.
No! No!
I'm sorry, I had to.
No, this gets even worse because there is also a little girl around.
Oh, yeah,
You
seriously.
did that! You did that!
I'm sorry, I started that.
Oh yeah, monkeys be strong, but also I'm especially wondering, well, of course I don't want to enrage him and lose Hazel, but that seems like quite a big level of secrecy even for them, considering they were just straight up, we're going to kill MT so nonchalantly, and here they're more secretive, and everyone started making memes about Simon trying to fight an ape, and I'm like, yes, and I just want to make a meme like, pulls out a gun.
I don't know about you, but I would like to see them play Smash like Tuba picks Donkey Kong and Simon. I don't know, maybe Solid Snake?
I need to make a counter of Metal Gear references you make in this video. We're now at 2.
Yeah, that would be funny.
Okay, so one thing I know that this is a more powerful denizen, plus they like Hazel is a child, but I'm seriously wondering what their plan will be, I'm seriously wondering what their plan will be. Also, before we get to their plan, what I noticed was one of the earlier cars shown in the trailer was the like ballroom car, when we can see like weird tentacle people in the background and all the characters dressed up in fancy clothing dancing, and I'm kind of surprised by that one because it seems out of character for Grace and Simon to just partake in a challenge in a car instead of wrecking everything. Case in point,
Hello. Every religion has some celebrations, okay?
But that seems to be a part of the car, and I think this is more something set up that now they're, doing all the stuff they have to do officially in a car because they want to get Hazel's approval. Especially, this is early in the story because in later scenes we see that Hazel gets their facial markings, and that in that scene she doesn't have them. And yeah, that may be the cold technique of slowly introducing their weirder ideas.
That seems possible.
Yeah, maybe they were just really rushing it with MT because of how abrasive she was. And their casual indoctrination may be a bit slower. Also, Jesse was quite impressed, so they thought they could woo him, they could sway him easily. But here it seems it seems out of character for Grace and Simon to just casually partake, or they think that they can't reveal where they are and they just have to come back the classical way. Or maybe Hazel dragged them into and they didn't want to upset her. But no matter which option, they look very pretty in this design. Hazel and Tuba, I wanted to say Cuba, are the cutest. Also, are they on a dance party for miniature Cthulhu's?
What have you done? I've just imagined Tuba as a personified Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, same. I think that will be fun.
Seriously. And what if Tuba is a distant cousin of Alan Dracula?
Technically, all denizens are created by one guy, so they are... Wait.
Oh, Jesus!
All except the turtles.
Yes, we now know that Wan and Amelia were working on their own version of L'Enfant Terrible experiment.
Wait, I don't know that one.
Another Metal Gear Solid reference.
Okay, counter goes up. I love it.
You made the counter, you provoked me.
Go for it, bro! Also, I see them having a snowball fight. Also, I see Grace not having her grappling hook equipment in multiple shots. But also, when people saw the poster, there was a ongoing theory that Grace will intentionally cover her number. But right now, it just shows up that she just covers her number when going on missions. Sometimes, or maybe when they're approaching new people, or maybe she will cover it later, but we don't really see any scene like that. So then we also see them in a snow car. I wonder if this is the same snow car or a different one, because the weather there is different, but we learned that some cars, with the Toad car, we learned that some cars have their internal day and night cycle.
Oh yes, the Toad car, my favorite comedic car.
Was it really that comedic? Or maybe because it was more, when you actually think about the implications of it, one of my personal favorite things that was revealed in book 2 is that when they finally confirmed, even if they implied it earlier, they confirmed that all the train cars are conscious creations of one guy. I made another accidental pun. of one guy that he sometimes in universe that sometimes he has to go, oh yeah, let's create a cool place full of talking corgis, and sometimes he go, let me create an empty room with an animal locked into an endless abuse loop.
But hey, when you look about it from the episode plot perspective, like you get our main duo chased by two very angry police guys, so they barricade in what seems to be an empty room, and they start arguing very aggressively, and then we hear a random frog saying, "Please don't kick me."
He's a toad. I had to. Yeah, that was funny. Like, please don't kick me. Also, I think he was also voiced by Owen himself.
Wow. He starts to be a man with 1,000 voices.
But the characters that are voiced are him like perfect picks. Okay, so when the group, I'm seriously wondering what they will go. Are they doing some sort of assassination plan on Tuba? And a car we see is something that a car, when we see them discussing like when are we getting rid of him, is something that looks like an underwater, the looks of underwater but not really underwater car. And we see them, and then we see them in a car, in like a weird toy clock people bricks car, which is one of the most interesting ones to me. Because of what happens there, and Gray tries to explain her ideas about denizens, or how they call them, nulls, and then we got the declaration that one found them, and the car started moving, and I was like, oh, so that resolves some stuff, because Book 2 never really answered if he even knows about those guys, or maybe they implied, but in one line Simon mentioned that he's trying to get rid of them.
But wait, there may be more. Maybe that whole 1-1 found us thing was just a propaganda.
Grace seemed pretty panicked, and considering that he probably has to by this point know about them, considering he encountered what they left behind in the shorts and in Book 2, I think it would make sense that he's going after them, but it is a possibility because train cars are sometimes moving just on their own. But considering how panicked Grace and Simon saw and how it suddenly cut to a different scene, I'm really interested in seeing where do they take that. And me watching this trailer was like, okay, so now the two main characters are making an assassination plan, or maybe not an assassination plan, but they were just chill with saying, yeah, we're going to execute MT, so why wouldn't they try to kill this guy, or at least get him, to get lost and, leave them. So now two main characters are making an assassination plan on the other main character's cute animal sidekick, while a previous season comedic sidekick is on a fucking hunt for them.
Back to my propaganda theory. Well, now we almost know that Apex is a cult, and cults love propaganda.
Oh, hell yeah, they do. Especially they love enemies.
I don't want to give any direct examples because I really want to keep that video safe for work, and I really would think about Japanese Metro, but let's stop with that. To think that a cult could manipulate the followers to that Japanese metro thing I don't want to talk about. That really raises a question. Is 1-1 also a propaganda in the eyes of Apex? And about that panic thing you mentioned, uh, if you train a lot,
Cult leaders usually often believe their propaganda.
but if you okay now and back to that
That was in support of your theory that cult leaders often believe in their own propaganda. That was in support.
Okay, that is possible. That is possible. I have to tell you, but
I think considering that it was built up, like they left the unresolved question of what he's trying to do, and I think they're exaggerating. Like the guy is not rather non-violent, and he probably just want them to send them to therapy. But at the same time, it would require disrupting. Also, we saw that the train car started moving, and he's the only person who can do that. I know that the train cars may sometimes, I don't think if they confirm if they can move automatically just to, custom tailor-made the experience on the train, but he's like the only person who can do that manually. Also, with later, I think it was Simon's line that, like, this place is ours, not theirs. And I think there has to be some more outside influence for the group to get separated, unless they would encounter a particularly dangerous obstacle, puzzle, or a denizen. They were shown to, like, destroying doors or just flying over the train cars. But they really, in a bunch of scenes, seem on the run, like running away, even when we don't see any of their followers outside. So it may be an accident that the car was just randomly moving, but I don't think that they would really focus that much of it if there wasn't something behind it. But I kind of like the theory, and I think that's not impossible.
Okay, do we have some more things to discuss about the trailer?
Yeah, I still have like 10 pages of screenshots.
Go on!
Okay, so the unfinished car returns, and considering that we see the same buildings and turtle characters, we know is exactly the same one, and the one from episode 6, not the one from episode 10, because that one had turtle trees and didn't have walking around turtles. So now we see that they're in the unfinished car, and they're fighting with the turtles for reasons I know, but I see they are having some sick moves. Also, Grace is masked again, and this time her mask looks differently than when we saw it back in Lucky Cat's car, because it has their facial markings on them. And we see Grace and Simon fighting the turtles for reasons we don't really know, and then quickly flying out of the unfinished car. We also see Grace jumping over the backs of turtles, and we see some corgis flying around, which, as some fans pointed out, could be the corgis that were sent by Atticus to help rebuilding the unfinished car.
So the Corginia may have survived.
Likely they don't just trolls.
But to tell you the truth, I kind of understand Owen and all his he's dead, he's also dead comments.
Yes, he even tweeted today that he cannot tell us those things, so it's just funnier to make a joke.
Yes.
Also, he wants people to move on from
old
the
concepts.
previous characters. Which, like, I'm the worst person at moving on. I'm like the person who, when I find my favorite stuff, it becomes my life for like the next 2 years. And like, that's just how my brain works. Also, another moment from the trailer, Simon got hit with a brick wall. That was like, bye-bye Dead Jesse memes, hi, welcome Dead Simon memes.
Yes, that could indicate that we will see third on-screen death.
I don't think he would die in that exact moment, because the trailers never really use late episodes for their footage. Or I don't really know about book 2, but I think the furthest book 1 in the trailer used stuff from like episode 7, but I think they wouldn't put something that big into a trailer, so I think he would survive that one. Also, especially in one shot we see this, which clearly happens in the unfinished car, and in the other shot we see him flying out of the car. We see that he's flying exactly out of that one because of the tape. But okay. I'm still thinking if someone will die, Simon has the highest chance of not surviving this out of the main characters.
Okay, I am really sorry for making another JoJo reference, but
don't apologize.
But let's remember. I want to notice Araki's philosophy in writing death.
Writing who?
Death.
Death.
His point
I heard death, and I was like, what?
Okay, but his point of view is really realistic. Most of the time, death comes either too early or too late. So I would not be surprised if he dead.
I think Simon, out of the main squad, has like the highest chance of dying. Also, one thing, there's a moment in the trailer when we see Hazel carrying what I think is Tuba's bag, saying something like, if it helps to say goodbye, and we see that she actually has her face mark at this point, so this is so I don't really know the context of that one scene, and we can speculate, like, they had to split up, she got kicked out, someone died. I have no idea, and I see that she's standing in the back of like what seems to be like an evergreen forest.
Okay.
And there is a scene of Grace and Simon hugging, which gives me a very Ship Fuel vibe.
Oh my god, yes.
Also, Grace is holding something in the scene where she's jumping above turtles, and Cat returns in the trailer, but before we get to her, the unfinished effing car returns. If that doesn't mean that Amelia will be relevant, considering that she's like tied to the whole group's existence, but I think we'll get to Amelia when we discuss the title.
Now, about titles, I am...
Wait a second. Also, other stuff we noticed, there Cat returns, but she hisses as cats do, and she was shown doing that before. But one thing that seriously left me speculating was she looked like only wild, let's put it in words, feral in that scene. She didn't have her clothes, and she had like collar with a bell, which means that either something weird happened to her, or that's a different cat that looks similar to her. Also, there was a wing, or rather, there was a train car with snakes with wings. And there was one scene when, like, in a dark car, we could see Grace and Simon firing their grappling hooks, and people noticed that Grace had, like, blacked out eyes, and they thought if that was an animation mistake, but after looking at the screenshot, it seemed like she's just wearing her mask, which has blackout eyes.
Now, about the titles, I really...
Oh, yeah!
I really
And
want.
after the,
Before we get to that, I really want to point out one thing. The titles of episodes. I really wonder how they are gonna pull this off because as we
wait, are they official now? Because I've seen some, but I've seen some leaks and some that were unconfirmed.
okay, but let's just pretend that's only a theory. But as we noticed in book 1 and book 2, episode titles resolves around a location which is most important in that particular episode. And I really wonder if the unfinished car is returning, how are they going to title this episode? Like, Unfinished Car 2 Electric Boogaloo? That doesn't seem
I
to
think
work.
they may name it something different. They either may name it something different, or that will be just a part of a bigger episode.
And that's also a possibility.
Or they will rename it, because that's not impossible to call it like just a turtle car or a broken car.
Yes. They may go with the turtle car.
Yeah, because they were, oh, turtles, that's normal stuff here. Like, Tulip wasn't even that surprised by this car, and we learned that what the point of this was later. So,
Last thing before
also we see...
we move on to next part of our discussion, I would like to point out one thing. They didn't include a train song.
Oh yeah, I was a bit disappointed by that, but the trailer was amazing because it gave me way darker vibes than the book 2 trailer, but at the same time it wasn't really clear how the story will further progress. And there was no really clear main bad guy showed, which they... Like, I get it, the Conductor didn't even appear in the book 1 trailers, and book 2 had like a smaller scale conflict, high stakes but smaller scales, where we know who the bad guys will be, except for, the guys that we're talking about now, since episode 1. So I wonder if they will actually have a bad guy, or if they... if they actually will have a bad guy, or if something, if they will completely switch to a different style of telling the story. This is like a redemption season for side villains, and we got a cult and a weird child and so much stuff. I have no idea how they will tie maybe not tie all of the loose ends, because they seem pretty tight, but I don't really know where the story will lead, and I'm really excited about it, because I was more nervous before book 2, mostly because, while this is an unpopular opinion in the fandom, I wasn't that big fan of Mirror Tulip when she was first introduced. And here I was... Yeah. And here I was excited from the start. Also, Infinity Train at first was meant to be a mini-series, like Over the Garden Wall, and only later they were given more episodes as their first production season. So it was, new and uncharted territory, but now I see that they can pull off continuing the story in that universe.
So... are we moving on to the discussion about the title?
Oh yeah! And after the trailer was played on the panel, we got a reveal of the title. We got a reveal of the book 3 title.
The
and
Cult
book 3
of the Conductor.
Yes. My jaw dropped when I heard this title. I've seen it being thrown around on Discord by people, and I thought they weren't serious when they were mentioning that, or that someone just quoted someone, and I was like, is this the actual title of the season. This is possibly the best title we could have gotten because, first of all, that's quite bold. I don't think I recall. Do you recall any other story-heavy cartoon, PG-rated cartoon use the word cold anywhere?
Does Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers count?
Oh.
Yeah,
they had
they had an entire episode about a cult of mouses worshipping cola commercial.
Okay. But I meant like more plot, something that's like more with an not episodic story and more plot heavy.
Okay, I don't recall any.
Wait, give me a second. I need to text people to wait a second for me. Okay, I'm back. And also, when Book 2 came out, people were like debating in the fandom if those guys are or are not a cult. And I was one of the, they're friggin' cult. And now we have an official confirmation that that's what they are. And I love that this title implies that they will explore the theme of how last time screwing everything up for everyone actually influence the greater picture and this universe. And I love, that they will actually expand the theme of this like weird and closed group and their strange ideas, and that's a pretty badass and dark sounding title. And most importantly, that means who is very likely to return.
Oh yeah, our favorite bipedal tank maintenance.
The least expected entry in the Mech Pilot Club.
The English the English cousin of Otakon.
Wait, how many? And that's also a Metal Gear reference?
I think that was fifth.
That was what?
Fifth one, I think. Okay, let's just continue.
Yeah, fifth one. Oh, that was the reference. So fifth one, I was counting. Oh, and how I once called her in a meme, a missing child, a missing British daughter of General Grievous and a Roomba.
Perfect.
Okay, her robot got like wrecked, but she's still around. And come on, I was so considering how important she is to the Apex and the Grace and Simon as characters, to their origin, I think the trailer should give us at least a small hint of her returning. That would be very neat. The trailer give us exactly that, a small hint with the unfinished car returning. Also, the creators, also she's in the goddamn title of the season.
But to be honest, I like how they decided to keep kind of mature tone of the titles,
Oh yeah, I love analyzing the titles, and this is.
Let's. Okay. Now, how could this title look like if they were very, very, very child friendly? I don't know.
I think book 2 title seems the closest to something to a cartoon title.
Yeah, crack reflection, that's right. But hey,
Because
but hey,
perennial child.
perennial child.
Oh yeah, that requires a bit of knowledge about plants, botanic knowledge, but like they explain it in the show, but just from the outside. I like this, really like this title. It's nicely reflected, like Tulip's growth as a character, and it fitted the whole theme of trauma, accepting change, and moving on. You know, like the blooming once again.
Wow,
I
now
think it really nicely.
now you made me want to study botanics as much as Jojo Part 5 made me want to study Italian.
Oh, I expected a Jotaro and Marine Life joke. I haven't even gotten to that one yet, but I've seen so many memes. Wait, how many Jotaro references we made in this video?
At least 3, that's for sure.
Multi-level references count as one, so let's say it's 3.
Okay.
5 Metongi references, 3 Jojo references.
Yeah, JoJo references? That's for kids. Truman only made Metal Gear references.
And by the guy who made... Okay, so coming back, also, like, the Correct Reflection was, I think, the simplest title, because first it referred directly to, on the non-metaphorical level, it referred to, you know, escaping the mirror world, but also MT's journey of stopping to be the reflection, but it also referred to how, you know, MT and Jesse actually reflected each other's flaws and helped each other grow. And the title was sort of referring to, you know, like a crisis of self-identity, a change, and also self-acceptance, you know, mirrors, self-perception, stuff like that. And this title, holy fuck.
So yeah, now they are okay with religion references, if we even can call a cult a religion.
Yeah, kind of like can, but I didn't expect them to go this bold. Also, this title sounds badass AF. Plus, it references my fave. So, also, I really wonder how they will explain, because the whole group uses Amelia's symbol, you know, the squiggly red line. Which was also the first thing we actually saw of her back in the cat car, which is pretty cool way to tie everything in. Which, even if not like intentionally, it's her symbol. And we don't know, because some people, maybe they came up with the idea of their own. Amelia clearly doesn't really want to have anything to do with them. But Grace like had to see her, you know, in her disguise. But I wouldn't disqualify a theory that Amelia told some bullshit to Grace just to make her go away. Because considering lying about the purpose of the train is not out of character for her, considering that's exactly what she did in the ball pit incident.
Oh yes, the ball pit incident.
Oh yeah, the ball pit incident. That episode was pretty much the moment when something, a switch clicked in my brain and the show became my new obsession. Like, I love so many things about it, but that was the switch goes in my brain moment. So I will probably make so much fan art just around the title, because Ben.
Oh my god. Oh my god, I am waiting for crossover fan art for Infinity Train and Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt.
I don't know the series.
A Netflix show about a girl escaping a cult and living in New York.
Wait, what's the title?
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt? It's nice.
Wait, I heard something with a plot of like girl escaping like ultra strict religious group in I think also in New York and as a Netflix show, but I don't remember this title. So maybe I heard of something similar, or maybe it had a different title. Okay, but coming back to Infinity Train.
Yes,
to
let's
sum
stop
it up,
derailing for a moment.
Yeah. Well, coming back to sum up the title, it's a pretty bold a choice and like a serious and not really child-friendly title, but also it has a bit of the like train universe called of the Conductor.
Yes,
and
but
it sounds kind of absurd, but at the same time badass. But also, my fave of all-time fave may return, or I wouldn't even mind if we could just like build up and ties to her, because book one pretty much proved that she's one of the characters that works the best when left ambiguous and only in short time periods.
yes.
But she's like so heavy. And also, I love that they will likely, especially that Owen Dennis said that the theme he wanted to explore next was empathy. So we got trauma and moving on in your accepting change for book one, self-acceptance, self-identity, and like breaking bonds and, like a bit of be yourself, but heavier for book two. And now we have empathy, which we don't, and it seems like there will be deconstruction of like the group mentality, the like hive mind mentality, and self-perpetuating hate and fear of the outside. Like, oh my gosh, that will be amazing.
Yes, that's something I can't argue with.
So, maybe we'll record all the about, or maybe do we have the time to finish about the AMA and the panel? Wait, are people waiting for me? Okay, there's still one person isn't there, so I think we can finish it.
Okay. So.
After the Comic-Con at Home panel got released, Owen Dennis hosted a Twitter, Ask Me Anything. I was looking and he started doing it like 5 minutes before 10 p.m. It was 10 p.m. in Poland here for anyone not from there. And I was like, oh, screw it. I wanted to be like one of the first one to send my questions. And I sent it. I didn't get answers on my first one, but then after like 15 minutes of refreshing the page, he actually answered my question, 2 of my questions. But first, what we learned, he was mostly avoiding answering any story questions for obvious reasons. But
yes, I love him. He also that.
Yeah,
Everyone is that.
Also he told a lot of his technique of answering a question about the character that from a previous season is just saying that they died or some silly stuff. One of my also favorite answers was what was Lake doing when the quarantine started, possibly going outside and dancing in the streets, because can she even get sick?
Hey, let's make an AU fanfiction where Tulip actually dies and gets reincarnated as a denizen. That would be hilarious.
Oh, wow. Not to make a JoJo reference again, but aren't this kind of like all the fan memes or theories that Star Platinum is actually reincarnated Jonathan?
I haven't heard any.
I've seen a bunch of memes about it. Oh, okay, adding to the JoJo counter.
Yes, JoJo counter goes brr.
The thumbnail and the editing for this video will look gorgeous. Okay, so also on the AMA, yeah, he's like, Tulip died she died on a boat. It was very sad. The entirety of Corginia is dead. Alan Dracula lives on the moon. But what also my general feeling about AMAs is that if the creators react to a question but just skirt around not explaining it. That means it will come up. Case in point, when people were after the Wasteland episode was released, people started saying that asking if the steward will show up again, and Owen kind of just avoided that question but actually reacted to it, and then we actually got them back one episode later. Also, also they multiple times brought up the questions of like what would happen if a child was born on the train, and
yes, that was that's a really interesting concept. Let's be honest, everybody thought that Hazel was born on a train at some point.
Yeah, also one theory that's possible the least probable but would be one of the coolest for me, that she's actually someone's attempt to, like recreate a person that, which I think that would be the coolest thing ever, but at the same time it would kind of contradict with what the show earlier claimed, that the train cannot make a human. Or may...
But wait, there is a possibility that two passengers have a baby.
That's very likely.
What then? Like, you can't leave the train if you don't have a number, but you can't have a number if you don't enter the train.
Oh yeah, I saw when Owen kind of did not answered unclearly to that question. People edited it onto the screenshot of one having a logic breakdown. Also, one thing, isn't it just me, or I feel like this show will make 1-1 the villain at one point? Oh, another pun.
That's not impossible.
Because I feel like having him as the main villain is pretty much the only way that left for them if they want to have like a high-scale conflict. And there was he gets spookier and spookier each season, and there was some implications that, like, first that Amelia kind of screwed him up here over the years, or something happened to him which caused his personality split, or that he can't really cope with Tulip not being there. I feel like there's so much unresolved stuff around him.
You know what I would kind of like to see, which may be a very, very unpopular theory? Book 0.
Oh. No, I think the whole fandom wants backstory of the train. I feel like I'm one of the few people who actually don't.
I'm okay with not knowing the backstory for the train, but Amelia, Grace, hello.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I wanna see this stuff. Especially, I honestly, because I just want more Amelia because I want more Amelia, but I think I loved her. I loved her because of her being a villain, and I would be fine with her being redeemed. I want her to be happy as well, but I mostly loved her for being evil. Her seeing as a villain again, I would actually get behind that, even if I don't think that's what they would do. But I still think she's not fully reformed, and she could be a very morally gray character. The way I don't even think it's Grace and Simon, unless there will be huge time skips, or they would do something huge like reforming their whole group, could actually get their number down to 0 in a span of, any reasonable span of time, considering that Tulip didn't have any instruction. It took her 5 months to get to 0 from 115, and while I believe many of people do it faster than, for example, Jesse does, it took him I don't know, a few weeks, a month to get it to 0 from 31, and he had an instruction at the beginning. The series is still not very clear, and while it says that it can vary, that sometimes it depends on your progress, and progress is not linear, but at the same time, the main message of the show is that progress takes time. So I wonder what they will do it when they finally have to be confronted with the passengers with very high numbers.
Oh yeah.
But
Oh
I don't really
yeah.
have an answer. I don't really have an answer right now. But one thing I'm also seriously wondering, that they will expand on the because one of the dropped, maybe not dropped, but open storylines was what will denizens react to their lives and possibility of maybe leaving the train. But I don't think this is something for that season, maybe for the future. And now we'll focus more on the morality of dropping traumatized people to magical therapy place where they can die.
Oh yes.
Well, I think the fan base is slightly exaggerating how traumatic the train actually is for people.
It is.
It is. Because it seems to be only taking people who really will benefit from it and need it. But the show is clear that you can die there if you scrap your therapy.
Wait a second. About that, the denizen conscious. Did you just made an idea for book 4? Do you have a phone number to Owen?
I think he already thought of that. Thank you. Okay, so thank you. One other thing, also in the AMA, Owen, when asked if Grace and Simon are in relationship, he said that they had history together. And I really want Grace's characters to be explored, because she always, she's bringing coldly there, and now it's canon, and you can tell me that she's not. That wasn't to you, that was to other people. But at the same time, she seems to be more misinformed and, in her own twisted way, caring about people. Also, one observation I had, even when the Apex were just introduced, I had the feeling they maybe believed that it's not a portal back to home, but it's some sort of a trap that only appears to. If you read, you probably haven't read, but my favorite YA book, Michael Grant's Gone series, had a similar concept that the group of teenagers, from infants to age, I think 14, got trapped in an isolated area of a medium-sized city. I think it was 15 kilometers, or maybe I think it was 15 kilometers, and they couldn't leave it. But anyone who turned for, I think, 15, so an exit portal, but back home, and so their family. But then they learned that it was a trap, and that it was a trap, and there was a monster behind it. So I'm now wondering, especially with how ominously Simon said that they disappear, if they believe something like that, or if they know but are actually uncertain, if they know but are just telling a theory like that to other people.
That's a hard question.
Yeah, that's something just to up for speculation. Also, when you actually think about it, they don't really have much of a reason to trust one. The guy completely, by his mere existence, wrecks their status quo. Sorry, but at the same time, they weren't there. We know that he's the real guy in charge, and the guy they believe is the true guy in charge. The person who they believe to be the true conductor even admitted to being an imposter. But I'm not defending them, but I'm not surprised they don't trust the guy. But at the same time, they should have noticed that, something actually started changing instead of being in constant stagnation on the train, and that a lot of technology seems to be more fitting for him, and stuff started actually changing. But they're a cult. They don't want their whole world wrecked, and I'm not that surprised they don't believe the guy. But at the same time, I'm pretty surprised they haven't figured it out, because their ideology doesn't really make sense, because anytime you do, like good stuff, you progress, your number goes down. So they may just be extremely stuck in their own beliefs. What do you think?
I am
And
surprised how much we discussed, considering we only had a handful of data.
Yeah, we spent like an hour discussing a season title, and I'm quite proud. Also, to close it off, Owen actually answered my question in the AMA.
And he didn't answer mine.
Oh, you will have a chance next time, but he answered one of my questions, and the most important one was something like, my favorite character is the Conductor. What is going on with my favorite character taste? And Owen answered, it's getting better.
Does that indicate something?
I don't know what he even meant by that, but does that mean I'm now the officially approved #1 Amelia fangirl?
Yes.
Yay!
Also, one thing about the panel, I love the video Owen made about cell animation.
Animation?
Yes, like...
Oh yeah, that was really cool. Also, his humor is amazing. I wonder where Atticus is going. Maybe here switches to like a background with lava and screams. Also, he kind of went full Araki with his dead dogs jokes.
Is that a 6th JoJo reference here?
Not 5th? My counter says it's 5th.
Oh, yeah, 5th. Okay. But to be honest, I think that really represents the hell Atticus fans are going through with his trolling.
Also, Owen's humor is great. Back in the 1930s, when there were only 30 people. Also, someone in the AMA asked Owen if he watched JoJo. He said he didn't, but he heard good things about it.
Oh yes.
Also, Owen is recently just finished playing The Last of Us 2, and apparently the final 2 episodes of Book 3 will have some awesome soundtrack in it.
Okay,
I think we can finish now, because I told my friends with an RPG to wait for me, so that was amazing. Please, cut out our prepared conversation and just send it to me. We'll discuss this stuff later. It was amazing to record this, so...
Yeah, I don't want to prolong this anymore. You want to play RPG with your friends, I want to eat dumplings. So...
Oh man, my mom bought some cereal. I'm definitely gonna get it later. Also, my mom bought blueberries, so that's even double amazing. No, I'm not going to mix them. I have sensory issues. I'm the person who makes my mom a sandwich with cheese, egg, and a pickle, and then I get myself a plate and I put a sandwich with cheese, and then separately an egg and separately a pickle.
Oh my.
Okay, so bye.
So bye.